What if there was an ancient manuscript buried beneath centuries of religious tradition, concealed from the masses, yet echoing with a wisdom as old as Genesis itself? A text so powerful, so revealing, that those in authority feared what its words might awaken in the hearts of men. This isn't myth. This is the Book of Enoch, a book banished from the Bible, dismissed as heresy, and yet within its pages lies a narrative so staggering it may redefine what you believe about angels, judgment, and the end of all things. Why was this book silenced? What secrets does it unlock about the days of Noah, the origin of evil, and the plans of divine beings who once walked among us? And more than that, what urgent warning does it whisper to those of us living in what may be the final chapters of human history? Stay with me, because what you're about to discover could change how you see everything. His name surfaces like a whisper from the shadows of time: Enoch. A figure mentioned so briefly in the Bible, and yet his story stands out as one of the most enigmatic. Found in Genesis 5:24, the text reads, "Enoch walked with God, then he was no more, because God took him." No explanation, no death, just taken. Enoch becomes one of only two people in all of Scripture who is said to have bypassed the grave entirely. But why? What did he know? What did he witness? The brevity of the biblical mention only deepens the mystery. And for those brave enough to seek beyond the surface, the Book of Enoch opens a hidden dimension of his life, one filled with celestial realms, divine councils, and an ancient war that still rages in unseen places. But hidden beneath that brief biblical mention lies an entire saga, an expansive, otherworldly account preserved in one of the most mysterious and controversial writings ever discovered, the Book of Enoch. Unlike the Gospels or the Epistles, this book doesn't reside in most Bibles. It was cast aside, categorized as apocryphal, even forbidden in certain traditions. But why? What was it about this book that sparked fear and reverence in equal measure? It's a question made even more compelling when we remember that the Apostle Jude in the New Testament directly quotes Enoch, validating its spiritual weight. Could it be that within its ancient verses lie truths too disturbing, too revealing, to be allowed into the official canon? And if so, what does that say about the message it carries, about the man who walked with God and saw visions of the end before it began? To understand the gravity of Enoch's revelations, we must journey back to a time unlike any other in history, a time just before divine judgment rained down upon the earth. The world before the flood was a world unraveling at its core, ruled not just by men, but by something far darker. Genesis 6 opens a cryptic window into this chaos. When humans began to increase in number, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. From this union came beings both powerful and unnatural, giants known as the Nephilim. These were not mere myths or exaggerated warriors. According to ancient texts, they were hybrids, born of heavenly beings and mortal women, defying the boundaries of creation itself. And it is in this shadowed epoch that Enoch lived, a man chosen not only to walk with God, but to record the hidden history of angelic rebellion, forbidden knowledge, and a judgment that would drown the world in silence. But who were these enigmatic sons of God that Genesis hints at with such ambiguity? For centuries, theologians have debated their identity, some proposing noble human bloodlines, others speculating divine or angelic origins. The Book of Enoch, however, removes all doubt with unsettling clarity. According to this ancient text, these beings were the Watchers, powerful angels assigned to oversee and protect the earth. Yet, instead of guarding creation, they betrayed it. Compelled by desire and defiance, they descended to Mount Hermon, where they bound themselves with an oath to enact a dark covenant. Their rebellion was not spontaneous. It was organized, it was intentional, and it began with a single, devastating act: mingling with human women. not just to create life, but to subvert and twist it into something grotesque. The Book of Enoch does not soften the horror of what followed. These fallen watchers became corrupters of both flesh and soul. They fathered the Nephilim, giant hybrids, violent and insatiable, who devoured the land and trampled the innocent. But the Watchers' betrayal went deeper still. They unleashed upon humanity a torrent of forbidden knowledge, tools and teachings never meant for mortal hands. Azazel, one of the chief offenders, taught men to forge weapons, to make war, and women to seduce, adorning themselves with charms and cosmetics. Semjaza, their leader, divulged the secrets of enchantments and root-cutting, opening gateways into sorcery and the occult. Others taught astrology, the motion of celestial bodies, and even the grisly art of terminating life in the womb. This was no mere celestial indiscretion. It was a full-scale spiritual subversion, a premeditated assault on the image of God in mankind. What we witness in these passages is the first wave of the Great Deception, a shadowy conspiracy not just to defile the human race, but to sever its connection to the Creator entirely. The Nephilim, these abominable offspring of angels and women, were not merely giants in stature, they were giants in destruction. Their hunger knew no bounds. The Book of Enoch paints a haunting picture. They began to devour the labor of men, and when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. These were beings of unrelenting appetite, consuming everything in sight, animals, crops, and eventually humans themselves. Their presence on earth was a plague of violence, a distortion of nature, and a mockery of the divine order. They crushed civilizations, desecrated life, and sowed terror across the land. And as their corruption spread, humanity followed, descending into moral ruin. Genesis confirms this descent. The thoughts of men's hearts were only evil continually. The world had become so twisted, so stained by blood and blasphemy, that it cried out for divine intervention. The flood was not just a punishment, it was a purge. A cosmic reset meant to rid the earth of a contagion birthed by celestial rebellion. It was the only way to halt the Great Deception before it could consume all of creation. Yet, even as darkness covered the earth, one man walked in step with the divine. Enoch, righteous, blameless, and chosen, was lifted above the corruption of his age. But he was not merely preserved, he was commissioned. In the Book of Enoch, his role transcends that of a prophet. He becomes a witness to both the divine and the damned. Led by mighty archangels Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel, and Phanuel, Enoch is taken on a series of otherworldly journeys. These are not dreams, these are not visions. These are first-hand encounters with the architecture of reality. He is shown the ends of the earth, the mechanisms of the stars, and the laws that govern the cosmos. But most chillingly, he is brought to the prisons where the fallen watchers abound, crying out in agony, awaiting the day of judgment. Enoch sees the consequences of celestial defiance and is commanded to record it all. His writings become a cosmic indictment, not only of angelic rebellion, but of human complicity in embracing forbidden knowledge. Through Enoch, heaven delivers a message of both warning and hope, a revelation for those willing to see through the lies of the present age. Enoch, the chosen scribe of heaven, is not merely an observer. He is a messenger, a recorder of divine justice. In his journeys, he is brought face to face with the consequences of the Watchers' rebellion. He sees them cast down into the depths, entombed in blazing abysses, suffocated in layers of blackness, where they await a fate worse than death, the great day of judgment. These are not symbolic punishments. They are eternal sentences rendered by the Most High himself. Through Enoch's eyes, we understand the weight of their crime, a premeditated betrayal that polluted the earth and defied the natural order. But the horror doesn't end with the Watchers. The spirits of their slain offspring, the Nephilim, do not ascend. Instead, they linger, cursed to wander the earth as disembodied entities. These are the original evil spirits, rootless and ravenous, seeking rest, but finding none. They whisper lies, stir unrest, and feed on the spiritual decay of mankind. In this ancient text lies a chilling revelation. The very demonic forces we grapple with today may trace their origins to the days of Enoch. Yet Enoch's visions were not confined to the past. His eyes were opened to the vast expanse of human destiny. He saw the arc of history unfold like a scroll, every rise and fall, every triumph and tragedy laid bare. He foresaw the coming of the Messiah, the Holy One who would redeem what had been lost. He glimpsed the struggles of nations, the corruption of temples, and the rise of false leaders cloaked in light. And most ominously, Enoch beheld the final act, the great unraveling of the age, when deception would reach its peak, and humanity would once again be tempted by the very sins that destroyed the world. The Book of Enoch becomes, in this light, far more than an apocalyptic curiosity. It is a map, a warning, a bridge connecting the ancient rebellion of angels to the spiritual warfare of our time. As deception deepens and the world slides ever closer to its end, Enoch's testimony grows louder, urging those with ears to hear to awaken before the last trumpet sounds. Jesus Christ delivered a prophetic echo from antiquity when he declared, "As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man." This was no casual comparison. It was a dire warning. He was pointing us back to a time marked by spiritual invasion, moral collapse, and an all-consuming deception that corrupted both flesh and soul. In the antediluvian era, the merging of divine beings with humans led to a perversion so deep that it demanded a cosmic reset. And Christ's words compel us to ask, are we not witnessing the rebirth of those very same conditions today? This prophecy is not merely about the coming judgment. It's a mirror held up to our age, reflecting a world once again intoxicated by rebellion and seduced by forbidden knowledge. The Book of Enoch unmasks this ancient corruption in its rawest form. It reveals how fallen angels weaponized wisdom, twisting divine truths into tools of destruction. Sorcery, astrology, vanity, warfare. These were not just primitive curiosities. They were the seeds of spiritual decay sown deliberately into human hearts. The pursuit of secret knowledge, the worship of the self, and the distortion of creation were central to the fall then, and they are central to the fall now. Today, this same spirit moves through our world like a phantom resurrected. It wears new faces: technological idolatry, hyper-individualism, spiritual relativism, and seductive New Age doctrines. The great deception is no longer a hidden threat. It is the air we breathe, the culture we consume, the values we teach our children. And if we, like those in Noah's day, fail to discern the signs, we too may be swept away in a flood, not of water, but of delusion. Enoch's warnings, echoed by Christ himself, demand that we open our eyes before the curtain finally falls. The Book of Enoch unveils a grim truth often overlooked in mainstream theology. The spirits of the Nephilim, spawned from the unholy union of divine and human, did not perish with their colossal bodies in the great flood. Instead, they were condemned to wander the earth, disembodied yet undying, seething with hatred, restlessly seeking vessels to corrupt. These malignant entities, stripped of form, but not of will, became the foot soldiers of a hidden war, agents of chaos with one objective: the derailment of humanity's divine purpose. Their influence is subtle yet pervasive, slithering through culture, ideology, religion, and thought. This ancient account provides a chilling and coherent origin story for the demonic manifestations that plague mankind to this very day. Entities that deceive, seduce, oppress, and manipulate under the guise of enlightenment and progress. Enoch's prophetic visions tear the veil from this hidden realm, exposing the ceaseless war that rages not in flesh and blood, but in spirit and truth. He documents encounters with both angelic guardians and demonic agents, revealing the intensity of the spiritual conflict that defines human existence. These are not myths or metaphors. They are coded warnings, urgent and unfiltered. In a world increasingly intoxicated by relativism and spiritual counterfeits, the ancient voice of Enoch cuts through the noise. His writings outline the true stakes of the great deception, not just confusion, but eternal separation from God. We are witnessing a global campaign to erode divine order and replace it with spiritual bondage, through lies, through pride, through fear. And as these roving spirits escalate their assault, Enoch's ancient call rings out louder than ever. Watch, discern, stand firm. The darkness is ancient, but so is the light, and those who walk in truth need not be afraid. Why then would a book so rich with divine insight, so piercing in its examination of evil, and so sweeping in its prophetic vision, be cast aside as forbidden or relegated to the shadows of canon? The answer lies not in a single controversy, but in a complex web of theological caution, historical politics, and spiritual tension. Some questioned whether the Book of Enoch was truly authored by the ancient patriarch himself, arguing that its age and chain of transmission made its origin uncertain. Others feared its vivid and extensive descriptions of angelic hierarchies, cosmic realms, and demonic entities might lead readers down paths of unhealthy obsession or esoteric speculation. Still others dismissed it as redundant, too closely mirroring or expanding upon themes already present in the canonical scriptures, yet doing so with a rawness and intensity that made religious authorities uneasy. Yet despite these objections, history reveals a very different story. The Book of Enoch was once revered, studied, and cited by early Jewish sects and by influential Christian thinkers in the first centuries of the Church. Fragments of it were discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls, indicating that it was considered sacred, or at least spiritually authoritative, by the Essenes. Even more compelling is the Apostle Jude's direct quote from Enoch in Jude 1:14-15, where he references a prophecy about the Lord coming with 10,000s of his holy ones to execute judgment. This is no casual citation, it's a theological endorsement. It shows that early Christians saw value, truth, and urgency in Enoch's message. The exclusion of Enoch from the official canon may have silenced its voice for centuries, but it did not erase its impact. Its pages still burn with the intensity of unveiled truth, offering unmatched clarity on the hidden origins of evil and the ultimate battle between light and darkness. Whether canonized or not, the Book of Enoch remains a spiritual map, a piercing lens through which we can better understand the grand narrative of redemption and deception. To dismiss it entirely is to overlook a vital key in decoding the spiritual architecture of our reality, both past and present. For those who hunger for truth in an age clouded by confusion, the revelations of Enoch are not a relic of the past. They are a clarion call for the present. This is not just about uncovering an ancient manuscript or exploring theological curiosities. This is about equipping yourself with the spiritual awareness necessary to navigate a world saturated with deception. The Book of Enoch serves as a crucial map, charting the spiritual fault lines that were drawn long before our time, yet which still fracture the moral and spiritual landscape around us. Its message is a beacon in the growing darkness, urging us to open our eyes, test every spirit, and remain anchored in divine truth as the days grow more perilous. The mystery of Enoch transcends the boundaries of time, offering not just insight, but a sobering warning. It reveals that the same spiritual forces that once sought to corrupt all flesh in the days of Noah are now rising again with renewed subtlety and power. This book, long buried and dismissed, now stands as a prophetic lens, revealing the true face of the great deception and equipping those with ears to hear and eyes to see. To read Enoch is to step into the hidden war, to awaken to the strategies of the enemy and the eternal purpose of God. Now it's your turn to respond. Did this journey into the forbidden truths of Enoch stir something within you? Were you already aware of this ancient text, or did this video open the door to a whole new realm of understanding? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear your insights and experiences, and if this message resonated with you, take a moment to like the video, share it with others seeking truth in a sea of lies, and subscribe to our channel. There are many more hidden secrets waiting to be revealed, and together we'll uncover them, one truth at a time.